Hello again. In the previous video we simulated the Steam, and today I want to show you how you can render it out on an actual scene. First, let's change the renderer to V-Ray. I set up a simple V-Ray camera and a V-Ray light. Everything is on default settings. Okay, I go to the camera view, go to the V-Ray, change the type to bucket mode, and decrease the maximum threshold to 4, and hit render. Okay, we've got some good start. All right, let me zoom in a little bit. Re-render again. Okay, let's change the bucket size to 40. If you increase the light multiplier, for example, to 100, it will increase the color of the smoke and it will reveal the details a little more. And you can also grab the grid, go to the rendering and open the volumetric options. We have 3 options here: fire, smoke color, and a smoke opacity. We do not need fire here since we just have the smoke. We just need to work with the smoke opacity and smoke color. Okay, right now it is on constant color, and you can change it to other types, like for example smoke, which will give you a gradient of colors, and hit the render. And it will give you some cool results. But now we need to work on a constant color, and it's a pure white. All right, let's re-render. Okay, in the smoke opacity we have simple smoke opacity, which you can decrease or increase. For example, I increase it to 0.9, and the smoke will be thicker, and you can see the change also in the viewport. If I decrease the opacity, you can see it live on the viewport. If I change it to 1 and hit render, it will be so thick that it's not usable for Steam. So I will stick with a number like 0.5. And in the master multiplier, let's re-render. Okay, the master multiplier is right now set to 1. If I change it to 0.5, it will decrease the overall opacity and color of the Steam. If I change it to even lower numbers, 0.1 for example, you can see the smoke opacity is decreasing even more. Let's change this one to 0.5, and let me see if I capturing all the details that's been simulated. All right, let's change it to 0.25. Let's change it again to 0.5 and 1 again. I want to increase the details here, so I would increase the number to 0.6 and reduce the multiplier to 0.8. Let me region render this part. Okay, much better. Okay, I think we're fine. When we render out the final steam, we can change the opacity in the post. So a little more color will be fine and will give us more detail in the post. So maybe I increase the master multiplier to 1. Okay, we're fine. Now I will switch to my another scene. This is a scene that I've made with Corona renderer, and I should say that Phoenix is compatible with Corona, but it's not fully compatible like V-Ray. And if you want to render just with the Corona, you may encounter some issues while using it. So I recommend using V-Ray if you have a scene that has fire or smoke simulation. Okay, let me bring this theme here and put it on the mug and show you the difference between the Corona and V-Ray. So I will switch to my first scene and copy the steam and bring it from the first to the second file. If you don't know how to use Copyter and transfer your files between two 3ds Max files, I've made a complete tutorial on how to use it and you can check it out from the link above. Alright, now let's switch to the second scene and first hit Alt-B to disable the viewport background and then bring the model in. I told you not to scale the grid, but when you've done the simulation, you can rescale the total simulation and fit it on your subjects. You can see I bring another mug and just put the simulation inside. Okay, I think we're good. Since it's Corona, the V-Ray light will not render. Let's delete this one and this one. Okay, let's go to the camera view and hit render. Alright, now I just set the final scale and position of this theme on the mug. Alright, let's click on Corona interactive renderer. If you don't know how to enable the interactive renderer, and for example you're in, for example, a top view, you can click on the top view, extend viewport, and Corona interactive. Let's change this one again to camera view and start the interactive renderer. Okay, let's open up the volumetric options and set the rendering settings. Okay, open up the smoke opacity and smoke color. You can change the smoke opacity here. For example, change it to 0.1 and the opacity will be decreased. But if you change the master multiplier, you cannot change it. In order to decrease the master multiplier in Corona, you need to decrease the light intensity. Here we are just using an HDRI to light our scene. So you can just decrease the intensity of the HDRI, which is not practical. But usually I prefer to do something else, and I will totally switch to V-Ray to just render the smoke. Okay, now you can save the scene and change the renderer to V-Ray. Alright, change it to bucket 4 and also decrease the bucket size. Okay, go grab the camera and hit render. hit stop. What we need to do: grab the smoke, grab the mug, and grab the light. You can grab the camera as well. Isolate these and let me go to the environment, disable the environment, and let's put this here, change it to 5, and in the options make it invisible, hit render. Okay, you can see the noise here. What we can do to solve it, first we need to disable hidden lights, so the hidden lights will not affect the scene. Hit render again. Alright, we solved the problem. And we do not need the mug. We want to somehow mask it out. I usually here create a simple V-Ray material. V-Ray material. Change the diffuse to pure black with no reflection. All right. And grab the mug and assign the material to it. Now if I hit the render, you can see we kinda mask out the mug, and now you can save the output and put it in Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, wherever you want. Alright, I've rendered the scene with Corona and here's the result with alpha channel. Okay, and I will add this theme separately, which I rendered with V-Ray. Add it as a transparent. Okay, here's our theme. And if I change it to linear dodge, and you can play with the opacity, you can make it less visible, and for example this, I would also add a gradient mask to make the lower parts a little invisible. Okay, and that's it. That's how you can easily create the smoke and add it into your scene. One final note I need to mention is the background of this theme should be dark. For example, here in my first try I had a bright background. You can see this theme is not visible, so I changed the arrangement of the scene and make it a little darker so it become more visible. So keep that in mind. In order to see this theme, you need to have a darker background. When I finished making this tutorial, I was wondering if there's a way for Corona users to be able to use Chaos Phoenix, and I figure out something super interesting which I'll be showing you now. This is our theme that I've rendered it right now, and if I change the base from constant color to smoke and hit render, you can see the huge difference between the two. And just look at these fine details that we've got from the same simulation. This is amazing. And I've just figured it out, and it will be more controllable and it will be renderable with Corona, but still the master multiplier doesn't work. And look at it, amazing. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to support the channel by your likes, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell button so you'll be notified as soon as I upload a new video. I will share tips and tricks, whatever I know, for free for you guys, and I will see you in the next one. I just was so excited that I forgot to show you how to set up the gradient, so I will show it now.